new day, it's a new episode, we got new friends, and so we're back here on haunterviews because, that's the name we came up with. But this is a great episode. We have another one, and I'm very excited. This is season 2. I can't believe it. All right. Anyways, today's episode is sponsored by W. Use my code TryHardHeavy, 10% off. You guys know the deal. But this is not about my sponsorship. This is about our lovely guests. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves like I always do, and we'll take it from there. Welcome on in, guys. How y'all doing?
Hi.
Hello.
So who's
You want
going
to start,
first?
Kim?
Me? Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm Bubby. I'm Granny Clown on Boardwalk.
Yay!
And I'm Neil. I play the teddy bear of Boardwalk.
Awesome. So, obviously, we've heard from some of you guys. Kim was on a featured video with Not Scary Farm, so, there is some information, but if you guys have not seen it, Kim, do you want to go over the information you went on that promo?
Oh, man. Well, they asked me about her backstory, Bubby's backstory, how I came up with it, that kind of thing. So, Bubby is more or less the world's oldest woman. She was cursed to be the world's oldest woman. Back when our story kind of had to tie into the Green Witch at that time. So, I made it so she was cursed by the Green Witch to pretty much be stuck in the carnival and see everybody around her grow old and, come and go and live and die. And she's just stuck there and bitter about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tough break.
It is. I could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Neil, how about yourself? Do you want to introduce your character and, give us a little backstory of our
Yeah,
lady?
sure. Well, depending on what time frame of Not Scary, because I think I have the Green Witch backstory, and then I have the current backstory. So the current backstory is I'm a 5-year-old child who was recruited by the ringmaster to be this cute clown. And I do a teddy bear act where I'm very clumsy. But the reality is I'm actually a 45-year-old man who acts like a child, who doesn't realize that he's not a child. And so when people point and laugh at him, he gets very angry and kills people. And the person who takes care of me is Bubby. So it's kind of inspired by I think it's 13 Ghosts, the great the Great Child and the Dire Mother. So that's what I was basing my character off of right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, how long have both of you been at Knots?
Oh God. Is this year 10, Neil?
Yeah, this is year 10.
Yeah, we've been here a while now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you guys want to run us through a brief history of your characters before your occurrence, or?
Yeah, why don't you go first this time, Neil?
Okay, cool story about me and Kim. We actually started in the same maze together.
Oh, wow.
Not only that, but Kim was actually the first person I ever talked to at Haunt.
Oh.
So she actually was already in line at 12 p.m. I think our appointment was 12:30 p.m. 2013,
Yeah,
by the way.
When you had to wait in line outside,
Right.
before you could go in for whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I said to her was, "Am I in the right line?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think this is the right line." So anyway, our first characters, I was a donkey boy in Pinocchio.
Oh.
And
I was a seaweed for a minute, and then I was the blue fairy in Pinocchio.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah. And so the year afterwards, I was a zombie in Special Ops Infected for the first year that it came out, when it was in Camp Snoopy.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, and then how about you, Kim? What was the next one?
I actually, when he jumped to Infected, I stayed in Pinocchio because I loved it so much. I stayed there, God, 3 years. I closed out that maze. I was there when it was just Pinocchio and Strung, and then when they added the key room, I was in that for I think we had it for 2 years.
Right.
And then after that, I auditioned for Boardwalk and was told, hey, you know what? We want to put you in something else. And I was in the very short-lived attraction Fear VR. And
Oh,
yeah. And then when that became not a thing, then I went to Boardwalk.
amazing.
Yeah. In a strange turn of events.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have been a cool thing, let me just say. Without getting into too much controversy, Fear VR was cool. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
Man. So, Pinocchio and Strun. I mean, a lot of people loved it. That was a great maze. Great, you know.
Yeah.
It was unexpected for me when they announced it at first. So, you know, I mean, but man, that wow.
I think we
there's a
were
lot to
coming. Oh, I think we were. I think we were coming after Doll Factory, right? I think it was after Doll Factory, so we had like a lot to live up to.
Yeah, I believe so. I agree. But
I think
wow.
I think it was year 2, right? When we jumped in.
Yes.
It had already been a thing before we got in on it.
Yeah.
And so, what inspired y'all to work on? What was your inspirations, and what led you to where you guys are today?
Well, I've got kind of a gnarly backstory with that one. I was always a fan of Haunt. I loved going with my friends in like middle school and high school, whatever, going and seeing everybody. And it was always one of those things where it'd be like, okay, this is so fun. Next year I want to try out. Next year I have to do this. I have to do this. And for one reason or another, I'd always talk myself out of it. And I'm like, I get too shy, be too scared. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And then I got sick. I was diagnosed with a type of pancreatic cancer,
Oh wow.
and I was in the hospital for quite some time. I had a very big surgery. I had 2/3 of my pancreas and my spleen removed.
Oh, wow.
Lived in and out of hospital for about a year, and when I was in there, I mean, it's going to sound so cheesy, but seriously, when I was in there, I was like, if I get out of here, if I live through this, if I get through this, I'm not going to be scared of doing things. I want to do things. I want to try things because, you know, I don't know. It was just one of those things where I just didn't want to stop myself anymore, you know?
Right.
So, I got better. I recovered from my surgeries, whatever. And that next year, I was like, okay, this is my year. I'm going to try out, and whatever happens, happens. And let's see what happens. And then, yeah, I just kind of fell in and then met Neil in line. And yeah, that's what happened with me.
My hero.
Oh, stop.
Mine is a lot less exciting. Oh, well, cancer is not exciting. Sorry, Kim. A lot less.
Not to be dramatic, but
I actually was I went to Catholic school for all like pretty much all my life, and my friends Sarah and Cheryl Amigo, they just like up and decided let's go to Not Scary Farm. It was 2003, I think. That was my very first year going as a guest, and I remember always being super nervous because that was like the first time I was ever going to do like a Halloween haunt kind of thing.
Right.
And I remember, I don't know if YouTube was a thing. I remember Googling about Not Scary Farm and seeing Theme Park Adventure and all the coverage that they had done about Not Scary Farm. And I remember clicking through like their first night trailer, and just being like scared and like and seeing like all like that big werewolf like on Lucifer. I think that's what his name was.
Yeah.
Seeing the skeleton with the braids. That's the first video that I vividly remember. And then finally, on my first night going, the very first maze I went through was Hatchet High, which was not a very serious, kind of like a tongue-in-cheek maze. You know what I mean? Um, but that being my introduction to haunt, how being scary wasn't the only way to approach haunt.
Yeah.
It definitely made like an impact on me. And so I kept going year after year. Eventually I was getting more involved in, not necessarily involved, but I was participating in like these message boards
Right.
where monsters would be in, which was like Ultimate Haunt, Theme Park Adventure. There was a MySpace group.
Oh wow.
Yeah. um but years would go by and I just never joined. Even after I graduated in 2008, I didn't join until um 2013, which was my first year, and that was mainly because um I had a journalism degree. I didn't have like the backbone to like be rejected by all these editors, and so I kind of like slumped into like this depression where, you know, I didn't have a job.
Right.
And so my little brother was like, "Hey," um, and this was probably like a week or two before auditions or like
Oh.
before like that hiring event. He was like, "Hey, like I saw that Not Scary Farm was hiring. You should probably join. Like, you haven't you always wanted to do this?"
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? Like, maybe this will be the year where I actually do it. And so I put in an application. I signed up for the 12. The only thing that was available was 12:30. So that was like the first thing I gunned for.
Wow.
And then here I am.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. I mean, obviously, you guys have some, from the tales of it, we have some pretty good stories ahead of us in this podcast. So, rookie season. Who wants to talk about their rookie season first and how they, any funny things, anything, that probably got you seriously in trouble, but, you're laughing about it years later now?
Rookie season for like our very, very first season.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Pinocchio days.
Go ahead, Kim.
Oh. Okay. Pinocchio, my first year, is kind of in like two phases for me because there was seaweed phase, which honestly I loved.
Right.
Being a ghillie suit was like probably the most fun. And so many people will be like, but you're not even a character. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, whatever. You should have heard the screams coming out of that room because you, and it was so fun. I had so much fun doing that. And then the opportunity came up that the Blue Fairy spot was open, and I was like, oh, maybe that would be fun. And so I got to do that, and that was a whole different thing. It was cool because, okay, how Neil and I met in line, and then, how like mazes are. Everybody knows everybody and whatever. This was before A and B cast. It was just everybody, everybody's in there and you're in whatever. Okay, my room in Pinocchio when I was a seaweed was like through the anglerfish mouth. So like you're in that part. Right before that was where the Donkey Boy cages were. So Neil and I were already kind of like hanging out right there too. Like I could be right in the front of the mouth and then Neil's over there. I mean, as far as getting in trouble, Neil and I for the most part, we are play it safe kids. We never wanted to get in trouble.
That.
We were like afraid to get in trouble. We were like, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and we're like, we just want to be here. Like, you know what I mean? I think back then it was different too. How time clock is now. How you have to be there right on your minute. You go in, you do this and that.
Yeah.
Back then it was a little different. You could come a little early and like hang out in the backstage area and whatever. And sometimes we would go into the maze, like not well, kind of. You already know.
Yeah.
I think we played hide and seek in there, and it was dark in that maze. Like it, and this is of course way before opening, but we were like, let's get flashlights and play hide and seek. We were so like, that was us being naughty. Like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
there. But it was like, hee, this is cool. Let's do something fun. But yeah, that was our, I don't know, or at least my rookie shenanigans. What about you, Neil? Did you not be aware of it? Because I'm pretty sure we were really good.
I second that. I was too scared of letting down like Tyler, Brenda, and Pasta. Like
Yeah, no.
that I was so, and plus this was like my first year working haunt.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want like I don't know, for some reason I thought like this is something I would put on my resume. So I was like, I don't want this to be something that they call in and I'm like fired. But I don't know, my first year was actually, it was fun. It was the most fun I've ever had. I remember actually my very first scare in Pinocchio. And the cardinal rule is always scare forward when you're in a maze, right?
Yeah.
So when you first enter Pinocchio, there's like this the Pinocchio head that like pops up and down from a curtain, right?
Right.
Behind that curtain is a small passageway that leads into the donkey cage. And really it's, nobody's supposed to go through there.
Right.
So this couple comes in, and I remember like I pop through the curtain and I scare them, and instead of going into the anglerfish, they went through the curtain that I just came out of.
Oh no.
Through, and they had to like maneuver around the head that was like propping up and down. And so basically they went through the maze a second time. This was like opening night too. This was so good. And then I just remember the next day, like one of the notes was like, hey, make sure you guys scare forward because like some people were going through like the wrong areas.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. I'm telling you, me and Kim, we played it safe like the entire time. I mean, the only thing that I could remember is there's like a little break section that we had, and if you look up, you could see the Pony Express people, and they would look down at us, and we would all have like our masks off. Yeah, and I don't think they had like a rule that enforced like trying to, other than stay in character. It was, not trying to break the fourth wall, but we would kind of like wave at them as they were like loading up, and then they would shoot through. So that was it. Yeah.
That was at the very end where like the big giant Pinocchio was. Like there was a little tiny back area, and that's where like smoke breaks could be. It was like back. We didn't have a cat or nothing. It was just like, hey guys,
Oh, that's great. So with that maze, with Pinocchio maze, obviously you guys are veterans to that maze. Do you feel like the first year without the key room was better, or do you feel like the key room added elements to your maze?
Well, I thought it was cool the first year. Well, I mean, we weren't in the first year. So second year, when we were in there and on, it was neat. It was cool. I was excited when key rooms became a thing.
Yeah.
And not only that they were like, oh, okay, and the blue fairy's in there, so you're in on it. And so I was like, okay, like I thought it was gonna be the super crazy awesome thing, right? And then I was like scared about it. I was like, oh man, because it was like, here's your script, kind of like this is how this room is supposed to go, which is different than usual. When you're just acting in the maze, you can improvise, kind of. Exactly. And at first I was like so freaked out. I was like, oh, it has to be like this, whatever. And then as it went on, you realized, oh, it's not so much about the script as this is more of like, this needs to happen, and then this needs to happen, this needs to happen. That guy pops up, and then they leave, Right. So once I got a little less freaked out about it and like did it the first couple times, and then we realized, okay, so I guess I should back up. For those who had never gone into the Pinocchio key room, what happened was you come inside and there's a little puppet show, like 3 marionettes of like the Blue Fairy, a donkey, I think, and Pinocchio. And then up at the top, like supposed to be doing the puppet show, is a Pinocchio. And he comes out and he tells you, hey, this is what happened. And then he's like, oh, God, how would it ever happen? More or less what happens. He's like, oh, yeah, and by the way, I got that blue fairy in the box and I'm going to kill her. And then he comes over and he like hits a thing and I burst out of this box and it's like, oh, no, help me. And then he like slams the door closed and a Geppetto like thing that it's supposed to be like he skinned Geppetto pops up out of this curtain. Everyone's like, ah, and then it's like, get out. He goes, get out, you know? So once we kind of figured that out, I don't know, it kind of, depending on which Pinocchio, because we had a couple ones, we would kind of play it differently. I don't know. I thought it was fun. The first year I think it went pretty good, and then the second year, it took you. Okay, you know when that first night or two upon when loose ends are still gonna getting tied up for the most part. I remember coming back and the key room was pretty much ready to go, but there were still a couple things that weren't quite ready to go, so we had to do a little extra improv to.
Oh no.
There were times when the pedal wouldn't work, like, okay, because the Pinocchio's doing the show, he hits the pedal and that's when the Geppetto pops up. And he would hit it and it wouldn't pop up, or the opposite thing would happen. Sometimes the Geppetto wouldn't go back down, and so like he's doing the puppet show and there's just a Geppetto just like honestly, it just adds to the charm. Okay, nothing is perfect, but I don't know. I thought key rooms were cool. I think it was a cool idea. If that was ever a thing again, I think that would be cool for them to do.
Yeah.
And then what was the other? It wasn't exactly the key rooms, but like, or were they considered key rooms? Like the Zozo thing.
Oh yeah, those were cool.
Mailboxes.
Yeah.
That was cool too. Like, I don't know, hot past, you know.
Yeah.
Like, well, key rooms were pretty cool. It's hard to say if one was better than the other, just different, you know?
Right. Yeah. Neil, there's a question for you now.
Oh, about the key rooms? I was never in a key room, so
Well-
but in terms of what was it like if the key rooms?
Yeah, like, you know, since you were in, because you said you were towards the beginning of the maze, right?
No, actually, I was like in the far end of the back, like the back end of the maze. It's just that the rooms kind of connected.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't in. I actually wasn't in Pinocchio when they had the key rooms.
Oh.
I had already moved into Infected.
He left by then.
Yeah.
Oh.
The minute I found out that they casted, was it the Pinocchio, the male puppets? Because the male puppets had makeup, and I wanted to try makeup.
Right.
The minute I found out those were casted, I was like, bye. I'm going to. Actually, but I really like the key rooms. I think they add like this cool element, this cool backstory to the mazes. I loved going in when it was like I had like a day off, so I was able to go in while Kim was in the and she would play it like different ways for me. But there was also this other girl named Alexi. She was also a blue fairy, yeah. And she would play it differently for me too, because I was in Pinocchio with her the first time. But she'd be like, "Run, Neil! Pinocchio likes little Asian boys."
Oh, no.
It's like, I don't think I was supposed to say that, but but there's other. But Dominion of the Damned also had a cool one. They had who else had a cool one? I just remember Dominion of the Damned having a really cool skeleton key room. Zozo was also like a really those what are they called? Death rooms?
It was a hell box.
Hell box, there you go. Zozo was cool. I think they had like one where you would get chased around by like barn animals. That one was cool too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was called Prey.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah.
So,
What is it called? It says it's gonna end in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, spooky. Let me know.
So do we?
Yeah, let me know when it reaches like a minute.
Okay, got it.
So, with that, infected for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was its first year.
Yes.
And so with everything, come everybody, and like nobody knows the history or what's going on with new mazes. What was that like for you? And you're like in the first ever cast for Infected. Did you play it off like, oh, okay, we know if we're gonna like have this zombie like team up, or how did you go about, the first year of Infected?
Okay. So, first year of Infected, so going into Infected, I didn't mean to actually go into Infected. What I wanted to do was go to Carnival. So I
Right.
had auditioned for Carnival and failed miserably.
Oh,
And
no.
so they're like, let's do another year in a maze. And so I got in line trying to get back into Pinocchio and get that male puppet role, but they were like, no, it's already taken.
Oh,
And so there were like whispers in the line to get casted, and they were like, "Oh, Infected is a streets position."
no.
And I was like, we don't have to audition for that. I'll take it. So I took Infected, thinking that there was going to be some elements of like being able to free roam, because that's what people were saying. And lesson learned: don't believe what people like what they be saying.
Right.
Um, and so we're going into Infected now, and um, the way they introduced it was like a video game.
Oh.
So
Oh.
yeah, they kind of introduced it as if, like Call of Duty, like that zombie mode, or Left 4 Dead. And so I thought the first thing I could think of was like, shit, like I'm probably gonna get hit in the mouth with a gun,
Right.
or somebody's gonna like teabag me or something.
Ooh.
um, but when we did all the rehearsals and stuff, it was actually kind of cool how we were doing the rehearsals, because it's like they were having us do each of the stages with the squad leaders. And so when it became, so they did, God, it's really hard to explain. They did every stage of Alpha and Bravo. You know about that, right? Like there's two ways to do special ops infected.
I
You could
did
do
not.
that. Yeah, so like you could do the alpha mode, which is kind of like the introduction to special ops infected, because you kind of find out about like the zombie infestation. You find out about like the militia that's like in the middle of the course, and then you have to rescue like a camp survivor, and then lead her into the exit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Or you could go from Bravo, which is you go through like the camp infested site, and then you go and you have to save like a scientist, but along the way you actually have to fight the militia.
Oh.
So in some spots you get the best of both worlds. So I was actually in a scene where I was both in alpha mode and I was also in the Bravo course.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so like just seeing like the rehearsals and the run-throughs, like that's how I knew like this is actually going to be amazing. Like it doesn't have to be streets,
Yeah.
but this is like the first time I've ever seen anything. It's kind of like a production actually,
Right.
and it's like a living, breathing world where the guests get to actually fight and participate in such a way. I mean, the only time I think we've had laser tag at Knott's before,
Yeah, we did.
but to this extent, it was a totally brand new thing, and I'm actually super glad to be part of it.
Sound like, yeah. I mean, it looked like a really great time. Like, I mean, unfortunately I didn't get to experience the first year. I tried, but there's a lot of things that happened that couldn't allow me to go. So I was like, ah, man. But from what I saw, it looked amazing.
It was a lot of fun, but
But there's a
as a talent, as a talent who's been like me and Kim are 10 years, or this is gonna be our 10th year. I could truly say that that was probably like the most like pain I've ever that infected. Only because it's like you're running at gas, but you're also falling down over and over and over again.
Right.
And eventually that like takes its toll on your body. So that was just I got sick for a whole week because it was even in the rain you still had to like run out, I guess, and fall.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my.
it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun.
So there is a minute left, and I don't want like the
Yeah.
next question to be cut off. So we're gonna take a brief momentary break here while I get the new link. And
Yes.
while you're doing that, don't forget to check out the W page. Use my code again, TryHardHeavy for 10% off. And you get loaded up, we'll get loaded back in soon. So we'll be back and we'll be asking more questions. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. And we'll take it from there.
Yay!
Should I end it?
Yes, nerd.
Hello, everybody. I hope you are enjoying this podcast. And I hope you're enjoying the lovely music by our good friend, Static Authority. Let us use their music. And all put your life stream. Really good band. Check them out. I think they're having a new single coming out soon. As we talked about in their interview. We gotta get back to our interview. So, here it is. We are back here and we are excited. So, we talked about the brief history, and now I think it's time to get into the interesting questions.
Oof.
And that is your guys' character development. Now, you've told us about the backstories of your current characters. So, the planning process. I mean, you guys can get creative with your characters on streets, is what I'm aware of. So, how did you guys, get creative? Like, with this creative process, what, how did you guys figure out what character you wanted to be? And, do you have any special plans, considering that there's a special anniversary coming up?
Mm, I guess I'll start then. Only because I was in Carnival before it came by just 1 year.
Okay.
And I know how to play two characters, really. It's something that is very animalistic or kind of feral, which like a zombie, or I could play a child character, which is kind of what I did in Pinocchio as a donkey boy. Because while I was still a donkey, I was still kind of like trying to do child like bratty behavior kind of things in there.
Right.
I wanted to bring that into Carnival. And so when I had first auditioned, it was to be the baby clown. And then I failed. and then I did that 1 year in Infected, and I was finally I kind of was just like, I'm just gonna throw caution to the wind and just audition and just do anything and whatever. If the judges like it, then whatever.
Right.
So actually, when I went into Carnival, I wasn't even planning on going to Carnival at that point.
Oh, wow.
So I think 2015 was when I auditioned again, and I said I want to go to Ghost Town, and so I had more of a feral character, more kind of having that zombie in Left 4 Dead, the hunter.
Right.
And so I did that audition, and they looked at me and they were like, Carnival. And I was like, okay. Never mind then. And so I, in developing the character, I still kind of wanted to bring that child aspect to it, because for me, I feel like children get a lot more of a reaction out of people. Not to mention, there's like certain aspects of being a brat that can be kind of scary, and also like the innocence of children is also kind of scary at that same time. Like,
right.
When you think about like The Ring, for example, that little girl is very scary, or The Grudge, that little boy is scary. And so I didn't want to be the baby clown anymore, because I still wanted to have those aspects of like an animal. And so the next best thing was to be the teddy bear. And it kind of helped that there's an artist who was also a Carnival talent. Her name is Red. And she's kind of like this ragdoll robotic character. And she was like perfect in the creation of my character, only because she was also crafting these teddy bears. So I was scamming, like not scamming. I was scanning through her Facebook page, and she had these cool looking teddy bears with like these large claws. And I was like, if anybody's gonna help me out, it's gonna be this girl. So I hit her up, and she was just as excited about it as I was. And so she came up with like the mask concept. She developed the arm, and at the time I only had one arm because I was going to be half clown, half teddy bear.
Oh,
yeah. So if you see any pictures from me, like in 2015, 2016, I only had one arm. What else? But yeah, so she created the character for me. I got my mask done by Eric Lubati. But that actually, me becoming the teddy bear didn't take place until like 2 weeks into the run, and it was because my mask wasn't ready yet.
right.
And so I played this clown that had like the generic masks from
Yeah,
Knots.
yeah.
And I just remember like putting the mask on for the first time and not being able to see for most of the night because like it was like sinking into like the corners of my eye.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Ugh, that was horrible.
Oh no.
But eventually my mask came, and even though even though it came late, uh I kind of had aspects of my character down, which was like heavily inspired by Super Nintendo characters. And so a lot of the noises I was making was like from like Toad or Baby Mario from Super Mario Tennis.
Oh wow.
And so I was like using those noises, and then I was like screeching like the hunter from Left 4 Dead, or the smoker from Left 4 Dead, that like that raspy yell. I was using that out there. But yeah, that's like basically the development of my character.
Wow. And you mentioned like with the noises you make with Teddy, they're so interesting. Just the way you execute the sounds. Like I mean, there's videos on Instagram because there's a lot of fans out there, and they're always reposting videos, or they're always posting like a repost. And then with some where you're in, it's just interesting how you make the sounds, especially like on my days off, I hear you make those animal sounds, and it's just. I think you mentioned before. I think it was like the placement of like the mask. How that
Yeah.
just helps a lot.
So I'm not exactly sure about like the physics or the like of the mask, but or the physicality, or just like the mouth placement.
Right.
But for whatever reason, um, the noises that I make are they're kind of like amplified with the mask. So one thing that people really do like from Teddy is like the baby laugh that I do.
Right.
And if I were to do it right now, it wouldn't sound like a baby laugh. It would just sound like Mickey Mouse laughing. But because of the mask, it kind of tightens the pitch a little bit. Like it makes the pitch a little bit higher.
Right.
And so I kind of lose. Okay, and this is the masculine parts of my voice, I guess you could say. The masculine parts of my voice. And so it like tightens the pitch a lot. And so it kind of does sound like either a baby or like a doll that you press like the hand and then it starts giggling. And as far as like my screech goes, it's the same way. Like if I were to do it right now, I kind of just sound like a dying crow. But with the mask, it just like amplifies. Like people have said that they could hear it from backstage.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, but I think I've lost my volume now as I'm getting older and older.
I have more questions about Teddy, but
Yeah.
we still need to get the information from Kimberly about her character development.
Okay, well, from what I had always wanted to do boardwalk. If and when I would have gotten streets, that's where I wanted to be. Because whenever I would come as a guest, like before I ever worked there, that's always where I had the most fun. I know everybody likes a different zone, or maybe they like the whole thing, whatever. I always was like, let's go see the clowns, because it was so funny. Like it's that weird combo of funny and scary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like the distractions and things that happen there, to me, was very different from the other zones in the park. Right. So from all of my, time observing, I had never seen a granny, you know what I mean? And yeah. I just was like, I could do this. I pulled from my grandma, a little bit with her accent and things like that. And I put a lot of things together similar to Neil, because I was in Fear VR that year that I ended up starting Carnival, the same one, I had the idea of the granny that I wanted to do, but Fear VR, I think it ended on a Sunday, and so I was in Carnival and I had the generic face and whatever my first night there.
Right.
And then when we came back on the following, whatever, Thursday, I went to Tim and between those couple of days off, I painted a mask on my own. I made her face that I wanted it to be. I made a hair scarf because at the time, the mask that I had like an opening mouth here and it had this weird hair on the top. And I used to tie the hair scarf like around my head instead of how now it's up with like the pill bottles in her hair,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I went to Tim and was like, okay, thank you for letting me use your mask. That was cool. Can I please do these things? Like this is what I want to do with it,
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, all right. So I went out there and it was the way I played Granny on the first night of it towards the very end of the run was very Neil knows. I did a whole voice. I did a whole different everything like the first time. But then when I put my version together, I was like, here she is. And I brought out who I wanted her to be, like her real self. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I liked to pull inspiration because from like Misery, okay, the movie with Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
That I'd call you dirty birdie. I'd say that to people all the time out there. I liked, at the time, what was the movie? It hadn't come out yet, or maybe it was like just brand new. The Visit with the old people in it. I was like, oh, a very kind of weird, sinister version of it.
Yeah.
Also, a bit of I would say, compared to now, I would like to think anyway, that I have more of a hold on when to play up the shtick and the funny and when to turn on the creep and the gross and the scary. In the very beginning of Bubby, I relied heavily on shtick and being kind of funny, which is great and it serves its purpose as a distraction and things like that. But you got to remember, and I to this day still have to remind myself, okay, this isn't Knott's, funny farm. It's not scary farm. You know what I mean? So let's try, depending on, I don't know how do I put it, the different cast leads that I've been able to work with and learn from as I've played Bubby. I've taken different things, and a cool thing from working with Josh when he was the lead was he was like, hey, this is a cool character. You've got something here, but kind of reminder, hey, let's turn down the funny a little bit. You've got that. We know you could do that. Let's see her be gross. Let's see sinister. Let's get a little, grimier, dirtier. What happens then? And that year, I think I had so much fun because it was almost like she was where I'm so used to being real chatty and like a distraction and this and that. I played more on people's like being uncomfortable, being a little too close, staring at somebody a little too long, you know what I mean? Or just like making a gross sound and like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. but she's come a long way. And as for what's coming, knock on wood, if they're not done with my old lady yet and she gets to come back one more time, I'm not quite sure. Neil and we talk about Haunt off and on all year. We love it,
Yeah.
And we're always like, all right, what are we going to do this year? Let's think of a new gag. Let's think of a new whatever, Just the other day we were talking about, so what are we going to do this year?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we always talk about like, what are some new sticks that we could bring out there? Because Carnival is so interesting because you're not just kind of focused on one person.
Right.
You're also thinking about the people who are watching around you. So it's not like we have fog or anything. People could see you from like a mile away.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I took away from one of the vets, his name is Joey, is it's a show. Boogeyman. People know him as Boogie. It's a show. Like this is a circus. You're not just focused on one person. You're focused on the entire surrounding. There's people watching you. So with that in mind, like me and Kim are always coming up with like different little gags to play on guests, um, with the focus on it being like a show, you know, like we're our own little sideshow.
I think Mark was one who brought up, and it made me think about it differently too. Because, okay, Neil and I, let's use the example of, two people sitting on a bench and we're walking down Midway and we're like, them, and we'll go over and we'll do our little thing for them and then keep moving. One day I was like, Mark, who's been Vulgar, is his haunt name, done all there is to do, really, really cool guy, really knowledgeable. And it was one of those things like, what can we do different? From your perspective, you've seen all the things. What do you think? And he was like, okay, you guys do your thing. You go, you pick a target, you do your thing, and you move on. He goes, or he's like, you could be moving and interacting with, one person, and then all of a sudden you turn and then you're dealing with another person. And then you keep it moving and you fall into the next person. He's like, instead of making it just a, 1, 2, 3, he's like, keep it moving. And so I think last year we did a little bit better at trying to, like, we're doing our little gig or whatever, but like involving more people into it or calling out other people. Like we're picking on somebody that's on a bench and then being like, hey, did you see that? This guy's trying to run off with my teddy bears, whatever, and like try to get more people in on it. And that's a cool thing to take away too. I don't know. So who knows?
Yeah.
I hope this, like I said, we talk about it all the time. And like I said, if they bring us back this year, if they're still into old people and teddy bears.
And teddy bears.
I'm hoping that we get to like come up with some new stuff before then. We don't want to be all boring.
I know, right? So with Granny, you mentioned before a lot of her personality. Well, I would say, I mean, I like how you just make her, like you said, funny and then gross. But I think the most interesting one is how like bitter she is. I think.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And honestly, that part of her, it's an awful lot of fun, if I'm going to be real. And I think one of the things that makes Haunt so fun is, okay, in my day-to-day life, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I do regular people things. When you go and it's like, okay, I'm going to be a character now, and this is the character that I've made, instead of being like, oh, I'm loving, caring mom, I'm doing all these things, it's like, I'm bitter and I'm mad and you're in my way and I can be sarcastic and nasty and sharp tongue, I get to be, it's like, I don't want to say mean, just enough, what I mean? Like you say just enough where it's one of those like, what did she say? You know what I mean? But by the time that's already happened, you're already gone. Like, and yeah, like I get to be real bitter, and I think that's cool. It plays into her, my backstory. Again, you can't go up to this person on the street and be like, I am the grandma, and I am the grandma that has been here for 1,000,000 years because I can never leave. You need to, like, you know what I mean? You have to kind of hint at your backstory to make yourself seem like a well-rounded character without being like, this is why I am the way I am. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when she goes up to somebody and it's like, oh, wow, I get to see you here like this. You didn't even call me. Nice to see you here in my carnival, but you can't call grandma anymore. You know what I mean? Just try to loop them back into it. But like, wow, that grandma's mad. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of fun. It's like getting to like, it's almost like, I don't even know, it sounds silly to put it that way, but like haunt therapy, you know what I mean? You get to run out and just be like, I'm going to be an ass today and I'm going to do weird clown stuff and you're going to like it. You know what I mean? Like people are going to be like, what the hell? that to me is so fun. I love when Neil and I do something and like we get a good reaction out of them, but then like as we're leaving and like walking away, he and I to each other are trying not to laugh. Like, or like, one of my like, break Neil. Like, I'm gonna make Neil laugh under his mask as we're walking away, or I'm gonna do an interaction with somebody and like look over to him, and he just goes, "Yep, nope," and like keeps on walking because he's like, "No, she's on one. I don't want to play with Granny." Yeah.
I'm very easy to break, and she exposes that each and every time that we're out there together. I'm like, dude, stop. Like, there's one time when we were, Kim went off on like a tirade on this like guy that was just like sleeping on the bench.
Oh no.
And so we like laid down right next to him. And Kim was like going off. She was like, you know what I like doing? I like paying $60 just so I could go and sleep on a bench at a park.
I was like, come on, Teddy, it's nap time. Isn't it so nice to spend all your money at a theme park and just take a nap? You know what I mean? And Neil is like, it's so dumb. Like, again, this is one of the reasons why Carnival is just amazing, because other zones are serious. And I'm not saying that Carnival isn't serious. There is definitely times where, okay, it's one of the things that's been thrown back around multiple times, depending on what cast lead you're listening to. And honestly, you should listen to just about all of them. But the ones that are like, hey, nerds, put the evil back in Carnival. Okay? How about that? And then Neil and I are like, yeah. You like sleeping on benches? You know? Like, it's like, yeah, that's great. Woo, we're gonna do that, and then we're nerds.
Bring the evil back to Carnival, and then we're like skinnamarink dinky. Like, we're just like we're singing songs and shit. Oh,
I find it funny because, like we said, Granny's bitter, but, you know, on the other side, we have Teddy over here having a blast and just enjoying life, being just evil. And I think that goes together really well because you get people like, wow, look, it's a bitter grandma, and then, you have a happy teddy bear just dancing and prancing around, and I don't know. I think it just makes sense. To me, it just makes sense. I don't know about other people, but for me, that makes a lot of sense.
we have definitely gotten the how do you two run together? You know what I mean? That's what puts you guys together. And honestly, it's like, do you want me to answer that as Neil is my friend and I will run with him until the end of time? And if we ever jump zones, he and I are like, so Granny and Teddy, but like in Ghost Town, like, like make it Forsaken. You know what I mean? Do we do it as like, okay, why are our characters together? And a cool thing about Neil's character and his backstory, which again, okay, anyone who's run into Neil out there, or Teddy out there, not Neil, you're running into Teddy. Teddy speaks Teddy talk. So it's like, you know? And a lot of the fun that I have with Granny is I'll listen to him and I'll be like, oh, wow. Oh, he just said, did you know what he just said about you? Ooh, you know what I mean? And like, it's kind of fun to me that he and I do this thing. And I'm pretty sure he does that to the other clowns too. Like, everyone has their own little thing with Teddy. Everybody, where all of us are supposed to have different ways of interacting with each other, right? Granny, she's bitter. It's like, yeah, I love you. You're my family. I'll take care of you, but get out of my way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like Teddy, and everybody else likes Teddy, so it's kind of fun having him do his little Teddy talk thing, and then going up to somebody and being like, "Oh, it's your lucky day." We do that one a lot. We'll go up to somebody on a bench, like, "Oh, this one, Teddy." It is so your lucky day. You won't believe what Teddy wants to do today. Are you sure, Teddy? And he's like, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of weird improv.
We actually had this little girl come up to us
and
ask us what our backstories were.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on. Let me think this through. So I turned to Kim. I was like,
And I was like, you wouldn't believe it. One day, Teddy used to work with the Barker clowns, and he used to help get all of the stuffed animals from the people that worked the games. And, one day Teddy just got trapped in a teddy bear, and it's kind of my job to look after him because, okay, again, some haunt people take being spooky a little too serious. And if there is a kid, that's a target. You know what I mean? They're like, fair game, you bought a ticket. And okay, there's time for that. But some kids, and okay, this is probably maybe because I'm a mom and it plays to my heart too much. I'm like, I am not going to be the reason this kid goes into therapy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, especially this little girl who comes up all doe-eyed and is just like, hi, Granny. Hi, Teddy. Why are you guys here? You know what I mean? And we're like, is this really happening right now? Moment we dreamed of, Teddy, And then we're like, it was so cute. And then she was like, I was just happy to talk to you guys. Thanks for talking to me. And like, again, Teddy and I are like, oh yeah. And then we walk off and do our thing. And again, it was like, did that just happen? She was so cute.
I tell you, Kim is like the master of improv. Okay. She does like the heavy lifting in this teamwork, I like to believe, because where I'm very much like, I'm gonna finish the scare. Kim is like, she increases the tension until like it's time to like pop off on them, Right. So there's like, again, that's like another great thing about Carnival is the amount of improv that people need to perform out there is, yeah. It definitely sets talent apart. That's not to say Carnival's the best one, but I'm just saying.
Ooh, look at you making big claims. But you do, I mean, you've got a point about the improv portion. Also, like, the cool thing about Knots in general is it's really good, and I think is getting increasingly better. Of when you go into a zone, it's like immersion. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, whoa, this place is pretty foggy. There's some foggy boys around here. You know what I mean? This is spooky. So they go into goring, and you're part of a whole world that's going on. And there's people moving around, and they're talking to you and pulling you in, and you're in on the mystery. And how do I get into the blind tiger? And you know what I mean? That whole thing. And then get to us nerds, and we're like, clowns. Everybody's doing their own thing, but then it's okay, and that's another cool part too. All the clowns are different, right? Everyone's doing their own thing. They bring their own thing to the carnival. That's one of the things like we like to talk about and try to get people excited when they're coming into the zone. It's like, yay, okay, what do you think your clown's going to be? Why is your clown in the carnival? Because it helps us when we're out there being like, oh, that's the wrestling clown. That's the strongman clown. That one, oh, that's the boss clown. You better keep your eyes down and keep moving. You know what I mean? Like, the knife throwing clown, she'll kill you. You know what I mean? Like, you need to know who you're playing with out there. Yeah. And it translates different, though. Again, where a lot of the other zones are very serious and theatrical and whatever, and we're just like, clowns! You know what I mean?
And, again, I mean, I think this is another important question I have since, like, obviously we shared, because as you know, I was in Dark Ride, and that was great fun. It was great fun, and we had the great Scare Actor famine of 2021, and I believe, I don't know, I think I saw you. I think you went in there for an hour or so, if I believe so.
With Kim?
Yeah. So,
we made a couple appearances in Dark Ride.
So, with a maze like Dark Ride, did it feel like nostalgic to you to be back in a maze, just to go back to where your roots? And did you keep like the whole improv thing with you inside a maze, or did you just do your own
Okay, I'm going to be very real. The, the time that Neil and I were in Dark Ride together was probably the stupidest, most ridiculous, fun thing. Okay, because, okay, I believe at the time they were putting clowns into Clown Hell, that scene.
Yeah.
Except Neil and I noticed that room on the end, that's like the gift shop room, nobody was in there. And so Neil and I were like,
No.
let's go in there. And so
Granny and Teddy show in the souvenir room.
It was a Granny and Teddy show. We were, oh my God. Okay, I was sitting on the, okay, there's a cash register and a little stool thing and then all the stuff on the wall.
Yeah.
And I sat on the cash register area over there and I'm like, buy my stuff! And like people are looking at me and I was just being stupid and loud and it would pop from that curtain that was there, like the go-between curtain, and people would be screaming and like we were just laughing because it's so ridiculous and it's so different. Now, when you're on streets or even in Carnival, since that's all I can reference, that's all I have my experience with streets, you got to keep it moving.
Right.
It's fun to do your little gig and whatever, but you can't stay too long. You got to keep moving, and that is to keep the guests entertained, and it's also for your safety. You don't want to get pinned in, and you don't want the to get stale or whatever.
Right.
Contrast: when you're in a maze, it's your job to stay in your room. You got free reign of your room. Work your room. Find different parts of it to play with or whatever.
Right.
But, that's where you have to be. So when we were like, let's go in the gift shop. Gift shop. Oh God, afterwards we laughed so much. I'm yelling and doing all sorts of things, being an idiot, and Neil popping from the little curtain, and I would just hear him cackling back there. Like he's laughing so hard, which was making me laugh so hard. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like we're having so much fun. This is what it's about, right?
Right.
The guests are having a fun time. They're getting scared, and we are being dumb, and we're having so much fun.
It was very on the fly scaring.
Oh,
That's the thing. Like we were just like making stuff up. Like
it's so different again because on streets we kind of know how we play off each other. Like he can walk in a certain spot, I'll kind of stay behind him. We know when to switch around, this, that, and the other. Okay, take that. We're still our characters, but now we're in this room. You know what I mean? It was different almost because we're used to doing the stuff out there, but how do you be scary in here? You know what I mean? How can you make this exciting?
Right.
And I think I don't want to be like, we did great, but like we had fun.
Yeah. That's important.
we used to have people running out that door.
Oh
like
my
it was so funny.
We're all bye. Oh, it was so funny. Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. We sure did make an appearance in there.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a lot of fun, just...
It was so funny. I can't even say that it wasn't. I had so much fun in there. There was another time, though. Okay, the first time we went in there, and it was like, yeah! There was another time, again, with the monster shortage, and they were like, do you want to go into Dark Ride? And Teddy and I were like, hell yeah, because we had so much fun. Let's go! And we make our way through Clown Hell, and we're going to go back into that room and do it again. And we're in there, and one of your talent from in there comes in and like taps me on the shoulder, and she's like, hey, this is like my room. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
And so I go to Neil and I tap him, and I'm like, let's go.
We're done.
We're done.
Oh.
We went back out, and I felt so bad because, again, the first time we were in there, maybe that talent was off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they just weren't there that day and they needed extra people. But I was like, it was fun because we were in that room, and now we can't be in that room. Let's go.
Yeah, Clown Hell was also super crowded.
Yeah.
There was at least like 5 other Carnival clowns in there on top of the clowns that were already stationed there from Dark Ride.
Right.
So it would just like we would just be bumping into each other in there.
Oh,
This is too
wow.
much. Here we go.
Yeah, so we just left. Sorry.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh man, I mean, it was his last year, so why not? You know, you gotta make some memories in, you know, Maze's last year.
Oh, we had fun with it for sure.
I think a lot of people did. I mean, we saw a lot of Carnival clowns in there, so I mean, it was just great. You know, we had that little crossover to send it off, even though, you know, we didn't have like a lot of, you know, talent. I mean, we slowly declined, you know, during the run, but it was all right because, you know, we finished it, and you know, it was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I mean,
Oh, good.
I can't.
So
wait.
where are you going next?
So that is a weird question because a lot of people, I've got a lot of compliments, and they're like, you should definitely go to the streets. And I'm like, I do, but I'm quite interested. I'm going to wait like until they announce it. Well, I can't wait till they announce it because they usually announce it after auditions. So I'm kind of curious to see what is going to go into Boardwalk Ballroom. And, you know, I'm quite eager to actually go back into Boardwalk Ballroom because it looks like it's going to be something great. I mean, you can't just remove a great maze like Dark Ride and then replace it with something not so great. So I'm expecting something big, something huge. I think that's where I want to go. I know that's where I want to be. And then, you know, if I don't like it, then, you know, next year, I mean, I'm going to try for streets, and why not? But I can't go without saying at least I tried the new maze, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, we do have a minute again, and I don't want to, like, cut off mid-question. So we're going to take another brief break. But, again, like I said, check out my code, Try Hard Heavy for Dovey, 10% off. Great energy drinks. Trust me, you won't regret it. And, yeah, with that, we'll be back after this short break. like this graphic. My friend. But we are back. Episode 2 of season 2 of y'all. Today, I and we have Granny. Take it back. We're gonna bring it back here. No, I do not want to remove that scene. That's an important scene. But okay. Anyways, we were laughing. We were giggling about character development because that's great. It's always great. I love how this happens. But I think importantly is with the 10 years and this anniversary coming up, which is a big one, and a lot of people know this quite well, that we are having, I believe it's the 50th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So with the 50th, I mean, you guys started, you said 10 years ago, so that was the 40th anniversary?
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't even think about that.
That.
It's okay. You don't have to age us. That's fine.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, I'm just saying. But, so, it's your guys', like I said, it's your 10-year anniversary, which is great. This is wonderful. I mean, 10 years strong. I mean, not a lot of people, well, I mean, a lot of people make it this far, but I'm talking about, a lot of people after at least a year or two, or not, they won't even complete a year. This is, and I'll say this, and I know y'all will agree with me because this is going to be my 3rd year, that it is very, very time-consuming and tiring throughout the thing. Fun, but it's a lot of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, I mean, with each year that comes by, what do you feel is keeping you, keeping the year, your year, coming back? What's keeping you guys, what do you feel is helping you stay with Knots all these years?
Oh, man. Honestly, I come back year after year because of the people that I work with.
Right.
I loved Pinocchio people too, and all of that, don't get me wrong. The Carnival group of merry band of weirdos, I love them. I have so much fun working with them. I love seeing new people come in, and I like, I'm thankful for the opportunity when I can come back. If this, if, like I said, if they're still into grannies this year and I get to come back again, I'm down to do it again. I think just knowing like you said, it's so physical, it's so time consuming. You get so tired, but then you're with this group of people that they're in the trenches with you. You know what I mean? They're tired too. They are giving it all too and helping make this show great, So that's why I keep coming back. And I'm lucky. Neil's great. And he gets to, I say gets to, I've stolen him and have run with him for such a long time.
Right.
And that's what keeps me coming back because I have so much fun being a weirdo with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me coming around.
I think the same thing for me too. I feel like every time we come back to Carnival, it's like I become more closer, not only to the people that keep coming back, of course, Kim. Like I feel like Kim and me just get stronger as partners, but also as friends, and that keeps me coming back. But also like the other returners, like Tanya or Alex, Maddie, Mark, Joey. I don't know. There's just like so many people that come back that I feel like I get closer to.
Kazoo.
Oh my gosh, yes, Kazoo.
Ah!
There's also like these new monsters from Dark Harbor that come in, and I always feel like I get closer to them and getting to know about their experiences in the Dark Harbor. It's just really amazing how Not Scary Farm brings people together, Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much about Carnival in particular that It's family to me.
And with all these years, do you feel like since from year one in your in Pinocchio, I'm not talking about character, I'm talking about like personal wise, do you feel like your scare tactic has evolved, or do you feel like you're staying to the original scaring you guys have done since the beginning?
I feel it's changed personally because, well, like again, the character that I was playing in Pinocchio is a whole different, she was in a whole different world, a whole different whatever. I can't be a fairy and grandma at the same time. They were two different people. My job when I was a fairy was she's terrified. She's running. She's going to get murdered. He wants to pluck her wings off. He wants to kill her. So everything was panic and fear and whatever. Bubby is bitter and mean. She couldn't die if she wanted to. She flat asked to, and she can't. So she's just like, has no filter because who cares? You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that you have to play different. Also, the being in a maze and how Neil was saying earlier, scare forward. There are certain like rules of how you. Sorry.
I was like, oh no, I think my headphones just blew out.
Oh, sorry, it was my kid's school. My bad. Anyway, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. I talked too
Scare
much.
for something about scaring forward, like learning.
Okay. Thanks. The way you have to scare in a maze to make it successful, scary, and safe is so different, ish, than on the streets. So it would be kind of silly for me to scare the same way I did in a maze on the street, because it would be like, you know what I mean? Because you're not getting that continual line of people. Right. You need to know, how can I move? And you're not just looking out for you, especially, okay, we talk about like family. You're looking out for your family and making sure nobody else is getting hurt or messed with or whatever, right. And do what you're doing and like scare and move along. So it's a different way. So I would think, at least I would hope that I've evolved. I also yearly like to ask my whoever our lead is, hey, you know my character, you've seen the weird stuff I do. What do you think? How can I improve? What do you think I can do better? And I like to, sometimes they're like, oh, try this. Sometimes I've had ones that go, you're fine. And then to me, that makes me like nervous, because it's like, no, I want to do better. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? How can we keep it changing? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. So, yeah.
I agree. I think, and what's cool is you kind of get to see how your experience in mazes, or, for me, Infected, how it kind of develops your character in the current. So, like, I kind of took elements of, like, Donkey Boy and took elements of the zombie and then kind of just, like, merged them together.
Yeah.
In all the years that I've been in Carnival. But there's, like, certain things that happen every year with guests. Their tolerance level to scares gets higher and higher every year. So it's always trying to figure out what's going to break them. Because sometimes startling doesn't just do the job.
Right.
Sometimes you got to creep them out a little bit more. Sometimes you got to play mind games with them.
Gross.
Sometimes you got to get gross with them. Carnival is interesting in a sense that, again, you're not just like entertaining one person, you're entertaining the crowd around you, but it's also energy exchange. Like, it's all about the energy that whatever the crowd is giving you, how are you going to give it back to them 10 times harder, and what's going to get them to react?
Right.
And so, as I'm kind of thinking about how I was scaring back then compared to how I'm scaring now, I feel like I did get better, and I feel like I am reading people better, but there's always something, like, I always want to add more to, like, my repertoire, I guess you could say, or like my toolkit. So like I'm always like tapping Kim's shoulder. I'm like, should we take up sliding this year? Like, should we throw on some knee pads?
Like, you go ahead, Teddy. You go have fun.
But it always scares me because people always talk about like how, my knees aren't as good as they were before, or
Oh yeah.
I have like weird back pain now. I'm like, well, I'm already having both knee pain and back pain. That's before sliding.
Yeah.
So let me not.
Yeah, like do I really want to ruin myself at this point? Do I really
Yeah.
just have a full, leg reconstruction, or do I want a new back? I think backbones are expensive nowadays. So
Yeah. Do I need screws in my back, and do I need to set off all the metal detectors at Haunt?
yeah.
Is that something I need? Like, I think about these kind of things going into Haunt every year. I don't know. Every year, it's just, I feel like now that we're at our 10-year mark, it's kind of just like stockpiling. What do I have to offer to Carnival? Where can we get better as a team? And then going back with Kim or the entire group page and saying, this is stuff that we could work on together as a team.
Right.
Yeah.
I think another important question, and I've never asked this because this is the first time I've done like a group interview, so this is great. This is fun. You look at you two, right? But now that I have the group, I feel like this question can have more of a two-side opinion because, well, like I said, it's a group, and you two are partners for a long time. So, with that being said, I feel like, well, not feel like, but I know that we're always preaching safety, and with that, especially like for both of you, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I know it happens a lot in mazes where there's some knuckleheads that are trying to mess with the talent and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've been in mazes for about 5 years, so I've seen the bad. I mean, I've actually seen one of my, well, not at Knott's, is at another local haunt I was working at. I actually seen, like, one of my scare partners. They actually had to go home early because of the amount of, stress that, they encountered on that specific night. So with guests that, like, now want to mess with you and cause problems, you two as partners, how do you, like, conduct like how you guys want to get away from the situations, especially since like you two are rolling together? How does that work for you two?
Well, depending on what is happening, there's a lot of things where it's going to sound weird to say it, but you just got to have tough skin. Yeah. People are going to say all kinds of things. They're going to do little dumb things. They're going to push you. They're going to try to mess with you. They're going to try to take your hat. They're going to try to touch your costume or flip your skirt or do things that are going to piss you off. And it's just going to happen. And it's a shitty part of the job, but you got to know, okay, this is part of the job. And you brush that off. You keep rolling. Maybe you say something snarky and you keep it moving. Then there's things where this is dangerous. This person is getting too close to my running partner. You got physical. You got handsy. You know what I mean? Something is whatever. And for the most part, what we do is you got to know you're out pretty much. Right. That's why it's important to keep it moving. Yep. And if we're getting messed with too much, if it's one of those things where we're too uncomfortable, it's like, come on, Teddy, we don't got to take this, let's get out of here, right. It's time for you to get in the laundry, Teddy. And we go backstage. We'll go backstage and you take a breather. And on your way backstage, any other clown you see on the way, you flag them down and be like, hey, you know what I mean? So the people around you know, don't play with that one. That one is trying something that you don't want to mess with. fingers crossed, you can hope that maybe you see a security. Maybe you could hope that you could see your cast lead. But let's be real, you won't. So
No.
keep moving and get yourself backstage, because that's where you're safe, and that's what you need to do. It is not my job to do anything else than keep us safe. You know what I mean? And get us out of there. We go back there, you get a drink of water, you cool off a little bit, and you're like, God, that guy was a dick. Yeah, that guy was a dick. You want to smoke a cigarette? Let's smoke a cigarette. And then you put your face back on and you go back out there. You know what I mean? It's one thing. And then if Neil and I are rolling together and we see somebody, which has happened more times than I can count. I'm rolling with Neil and I see somebody who's going to start following a clown. The clown has their back. Somebody's coming up on them. It's your job. You hustle up and intervene. Cut in front of them. Do something else. Group up. There are times where it's really important to run with a partner. Maybe you're not even like gigging together the way Neil and I do little skits and whatever together, but there are nights when it is too crowded. It's known. It's not safe. Don't roll alone. Stay near somebody. Like, you don't need to be glued, but near somebody, because if you see something happening, you could help. You know, and at least be close. Right. Sometimes that's all it takes. If somebody's trying to, fuck with somebody else, and then, I mean, I'm not a tiny woman. I'm 5'9". You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a tall presence. Sometimes that's all it takes, is for me to swoop up and be behind somebody else for somebody else to leave. I don't have to interact with them at all, but I got their back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I just think you got to keep it moving. And in a perfect world, it'd be so cool if Knott's had security every 5 seconds everywhere.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? No. But you know what I mean? That's why it's important to look out for your own. It's just part of it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's like this weird thing that happens, like where guests, when they come in for the first time for the night, and they pass through Ghost Town or like Camp Snoopy or Forsaken Lake, they're so scared, or they huddle up with one another. When they finally get to us, all the way in the back, they've already gone through so many monsters. They've already probably had like 2 drinks in them. They're already like mentally prepared to take us on.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? So it's like they're kind of numb to it by the time they get to the clowns.
Yeah.
And to them, clowns aren't monsters. We're humans in makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like, it levels them with us. And then another thing is, I'm very lucky that my running partner is from Long Beach, because she doesn't play that shit. She does not play that shit. The minute somebody comes up to me, like from up behind me, she's already like, like this isn't happening right now. She's already intervening. I don't know if it's my costume or if it's me personally. I do not see people for like coming up behind me. I don't see their shadow whatsoever. There are people like I'm probably one of many. I feel like I get messed around with a lot, and that's because a lot of people, they'll call me a furry, Chewbacca, an Ewok.
Sloth? You were a sloth one time?
I was a sloth. They call me a monkey a lot, which I kind of whatever. A giraffe.
That was the day.
Chinchilla.
Remember there was that night where that person was like, I love birds.
Yeah. I was like, what? A bird?
You hear that, Teddy? You're a bird now.
Oh.
It's just, I guess when they get to Carnival, they become a whole other creature. They're creatures themselves, actually. They're monsters themselves.
Yeah.
So, again, like what Kim was saying, it is having tough skin, definitely. But you really got to know when it's starting to get to you now, when it's not fun, and when you got to take your ass to the back and get a cigarette.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Goring goes through it just as much as we do.
Oh.
I mean, they're well lit up over there too.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's just, I mean, thankfully, guests aren't what keep, like, they don't keep me from coming back to haunt. Like, I go back every year regardless. But again, every year it's kind of like we kind of have to take stockpile of what we're good at and how can we make it even better because these guests are getting braver and ballsier by the minute.
Facts.
Yeah. And
Straight
also, oh
facts.
my God, like TikTok. Like,
TikTok.
I feel like everybody's trying to film these days. And so it's, this is going back to your question about like, you know, how are we like getting better at scares? Like, how are we getting better at scaring? You know?
Yeah.
You kind of have to follow these trends, like on TikTok or like viral stuff that's happening on YouTube, because it's probably going to make its way to Carnival.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's this one, I don't know if it's a prank, but it's usually a person standing in the center of the video, and then the monsters are trying to scare them. But it's all over. Like, it was happening at Horror Nights a lot, where people would film themselves not getting scared, and the monsters just kind of fall for it each time. As a talent, you kind of have to, and especially in Carnival, you kind of have to outdo that somehow and not fall into their prank.
It's
So that's
important,
yeah.
to just not play to cameras. And that seems like a fun thing to do. Like, you want it to be a fun thing. You're like, oh my gosh, they want to like whatever. No, you will get caught doing something stupid. Do not play to a camera. That's dumb. They're trying to get you to do a thing. Hey, scare my friend, looking at their phone. Like, nah. There's a whole bunch of people going on. It's like it's like, I feel bad. You're probably going to get bored, but no, I'm not going to play to your camera. You know what I mean? You don't say that, but you just, don't. Like, I don't
It's
know.
a trap,
It
basically.
is.
It always is. It won't end well. Just don't do it. Don't play to cameras.
And stop it and get some help.
I'm just saying.
Oh. Ooh. So, I mean, this year we not experimented, but we implemented this new policies. I mean, there's a lot of new policies that are coming in last year, and how do you feel like these new policies that are coming in are really helping you guys out? Even like as actors yourselves, do you feel like these policies are making things at least a little bit better out there, especially with streets? Because I know streets is a lot more, vulnerable to knuckleheads. Do you feel like these new policies are helping you guys out there?
Now this is the part where I'm like, do I want to give you the hot take or do I give you a nice answer? Because hot take, I don't care. Like, I personally think bring your kids. It's, to me, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to be scary grandma, whether it's a bunch of teenagers being dicks or, whatever. Half the time when the thing was in place, there were still people walking around because security can't be everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be real. And then, okay, what about the drunken assholes? They're already over the limit. They're already in here by themselves as grown-ups acting a damn fool. Okay, hot take. Don't always got to blame the kids. Are teenagers sometimes hard to play to, get kind of annoying? Sure. Do I really personally feel that policy did anything? I don't know. That's not really what but again, that's not what I'm hired for. That's not what they pay me for. I don't know. I also personally think that, I don't know, because I don't know the books, none of that stuff, but, didn't it seem a little light last year? Mm-hmm. I know there have been nights when, before that, when, to me, okay, I don't know if it's just a Carnival thing or what, but like, busy nights, and I'm not talking a last year busy night. Let's go pre that policy when we would have like really busy nights. Like, we're going to pull you from streets because it's getting kind of hairy out there. Busy nights.
Ooh.
To me, that's where it's fun. That's when it's really fun because you're moving really fast and you're bobbing and weaving and you're doing lots of scares and whatever. Didn't get as much of that last year. Was that because of that policy? I don't know. I'm just saying. But that's my hot take. What about you, Neil?
I 100% agree with you in it that, again, what you said about it being super light. Carnival thrives on crowds. Like, as much as we do get kind of bullied around by the crowd, where we thrive is when it's heavy, when we're running around each other. It's like a lot of chaos. Like, that energy exchange is just so like, ugh. And I feel so bad for my little brother Nico because he joined Haunt this year. And he got Forsaken Lake, but he was kind of robbed of that heavy night feeling, you know?
Yeah.
Like 30,000, is it 30,000? I think that's the heaviest that they could go, or probably 25,000.
Yeah.
I think the heaviest it was that Wednesday that we had, where I think it was like Haunter's Night.
Oh.
Like, from
I
the
think that
other
was,
places came to see us, I think.
yeah, I think that was the heaviest. And of course, I had my day off that day, so I didn't get to enjoy that.
Wow. Wow.
Ugh.
Ugh.
But I'm kind of excited for the chaperone policy being taken off on Saturdays. Or is that only for Knott's Berry Farm? Or is it just going to be...
It might change again because they totally can. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe come summertime that comes back. I don't know, but it would make sense if they did.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would bring it back just for Haunt. I don't know. Personally, I think it's a numbers game. We'll see.
Definitely.
That's a thing. And listen, I get it. The chaperone policy was cool to the extent that it kept us protected, but it was really the adults that like mess with us.
What I'm saying, like, but did it though?
Yeah.
There are gonna be those guests, whether they're teenagers or whether they're adults that don't know how to conduct themselves. That's just the truth. I don't know.
Yep.
Facts. Straight facts. But I feel like it wouldn't really affect people like me, the mazes, because obviously, I mean, 24/7 we got our backs watched by the blackout. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I think I have to agree with you guys on this one. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel like it applies to maze people too much because I think it's more of a street sort of thing. So. I think it's interesting to see, just different reactions from, around the park because obviously a lot of people have a different opinion on it, and that's cool because I don't like hearing the same answer 5 times. I like to hear what other people have to say. I like the feeling of it.
Also, it's also like when I went for the first time. I was like 12. I think I was like 13. And I was going with other teenagers. I don't know if...
I think you get dropped off and you come back later. I also didn't act a fool, but that...
Yeah, exactly.
You respect other people. Like, they're actors, they're performers. You're there to have fun. You're not there to act fool. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know if there's something in the milk that these kids are drinking, but
it's definitely the milk.
But again, we can't really say the chaperone policy, did this or that.
Yeah.
I just know that as a talent, we didn't have the crowds that we did in 2021. And we're also still getting hurt by people out there.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we still are. We're still getting, beat up by the drunken buffoons, and we're still getting heckled by adults. So, I don't. I'm not sure if it's really too effective, but I mean, I guess having it limited is better than having that every night. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a plus. That's a plus right there. But there's still gonna be vulnerable times, and I'm just saying, let them run free. Let them be free now. Let them be.
It's okay. We saw what happens when we had the policy.
Exactly.
So let's take it away and see what happens if it's gone and then make your call,
Exactly. Test it out a little bit. I mean, you can't just let an event that happened so long ago just be a driving force of the future.
Yeah.
And the contrast was so, like, it was huge.
Yeah.
2021 versus last year. Like, at 2021, I think we didn't do 2020, right? We didn't do 2020?
No,
yeah, we
no.
didn't do 2020.
We did the
Going
car wash.
into, yeah, that's right. We did the car wash.
Ooh.
That was a lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Glow. Thank you for letting us play.
Oh.
2021, going back into it, I feel like the crowd was so excited to come back to Haunt.
Right.
And they come in droves, right?
Yeah.
And then come 2022, you think you're going to get that kind of crowd again. And then it feels like a Friday night on a Sunday night. And then it felt like a Sunday night on a Thursday night, where it's just...
It's like you just keep waiting for it to get really busy, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
Not to say we didn't have fun. We totally had fun.
Yeah.
And there were nights where it was busier than other nights, but it still wasn't what we've seen before. You know what I mean?
Right. I think, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see if they actually just drop the whole thing for this upcoming Haunt. I think it'll be excited, especially since it's the anniversary. I mean, we definitely. I'll tell you this now. I have a prediction, and I know this is gonna sound silly, but I think we ain't gonna have any chill nights this upcoming year. I believe every night's gonna be busy by some sort of extent, at least for a little bit.
Bring it! I'm so stoked. Let's make it happen.
Bring the crowds. Bring them. Come from all over the world. Yeah, because we are the founding fathers of scary stuff. So I'm not sure how Six Flags and Horror Nights are gonna react, and I think SeaWorld has one too now, I guess. So yeah. So I mean, but hey, bring it.
Yeah.
Let's see what comes out of this, and I'm very excited. I mean, 50 years. I don't know what they have planned, but I'm pretty sure it's big because I heard they started planning it once we started our 49th year. So whatever it is, it's huge, and I think y'all. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I also saw that they're filming commercials already for it, or they're doing something.
Wow.
Where some of the park was decorated for Scary Farm.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I thought I saw something about that.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think they saw like some pumpkins somewhere around, and I'm like,
yeah,
wow, pumpkins in January. That's great. Quarter Halloween. There we go. But we do have about 3.5 minutes on this version. I feel like this next one will be our final hour, but I think it's going to be a great hour because you mentioned 2020 and car washes. So I'm deeply interested in finding out this information about car washes, and I've never seen something like that before. So you two are gonna give me my first-hand experience of, I don't know, haunt car washes, if that's what you want to call it. I'm not sure what you call it. I'll just call it the haunted car wash, but I'm very excited.
I think that's what it was called, right? Or was it the Tunnel of Terror?
Tunnel of Terror.
Oh, Tunnel of Terror. All right. Well, sounds like a great idea. But with that, I'm gonna let us recharge. I mean, I know we still have 2 minutes, but I don't think we're gonna cover anything with that amount of time. But
Okay.
yeah. So use our code tryhardheavy at w.com, 10% off. You know the deal. Enjoy our break, and yeah, we'll be back pretty soon to conclude this episode. We are back. Welcome to, I don't know, I guess position number 4. I've lost count already, but I hope y'all are enjoying your time here, and because I know I am. This is probably a great fun interview I'm having, and we're talking about character development, haunt history, and now we're talking about the year 2020, which everyone, well, actually, they don't want to forget. But I know a lot of haunt fans do want to forget because they don't, didn't have a lot of access to haunted attractions. But my 2 lovely guests here don't want to forget it because obviously it sounds like they had a great time. All right, so haunted car wash. Let's go through the history. Who wants to run me through the history of how this happened and how I did not know this?
You start, Neil. You know this one. You got me in on it.
Disclaimer, we were only there for 2 days.
So fun. Okay.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Me and Kim were kind of just okay with not scary. Like, it would be a break from haunting,
Right.
But, you see, the thing is, I don't actually know the history. The only thing that I know was Glow, aka the bride, had put together a team to go into this car wash that I think was it in Irvine or Anaheim, somewhere there.
Orange, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, or Orange. And they had put some lights and they decorated like this cool like clown face, and you would enter the car wash and there would be talent in there that would like scare you.
Wow.
It was actually super cool, and for some time it was sold out because it was so popular. Even the news was like covering it.
Jeez.
But people want to get out and do stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so me and Kim went one night because I was able to snag tickets, thankfully. And I just remember not really expecting much out of it because it's like, what can you do? Like, you're in a car, you know?
Yeah.
Only to realize that the people that are working this event are also not scary far monsters.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what do you do?
Oh,
And it was,
gosh.
I mean, like, she had it so like you turn your radio to a certain station and it played this music, so it's like themey, you know, when you're going through. And then of course there's a big line of cars before you actually get into the car wash part.
Wow.
And that part is like, okay, her theme was clowns, so of course we loved it and we're in. So there's people coming around and like messing with your car. There was a couple of chainsaw ones, and like it was really fun. Like, we had such a fun time just going through it, and we're like, this was so great, whatever. And then I don't even know how did you get us in on it, Neil? And then we were like, we have to do this. Like,
yeah. So at the end of the night, like once we finished it, I hit up Kim and I was like, hey, girl, we need to do this. Like this looks fun. Like,
yeah.
and so okay, and me and Kim or maybe just me, I'm very intimidated by people, like very easily. I remember knowing that I had to hit up Glow for this,
I'm gonna have to
and
stop
I was
you right
like,
there real quick because so funny story is I'm very intimidated by her not scary. I mean, I've said the story so many times. I think people are already laughing already. When you first mention her, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we already know the story of what's going on." And so, I just wanted to put a disclaimer that the Ghost Town Bride is very frightening, and I will not. I would be happy to associate with her, but you know, at opposite sides of the park, if you know what I mean. You know, she got her side, I got my side. We're good. We're territorial people. I mean,
her Bright character is amazing. Like the movements.
Oh yeah.
It's hard sometimes to like disconnect that the person and the character, because again, one of the reasons why I get like nervous around people, it's like, oh man, like I know you, but it's like, no, I don't. I know your character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt this. I was like, oh, hi. You know what I mean? Like such a nerd. I don't know how he hit her up or something, and I'm sure he said that we liked it or that we wanted it on thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I added her and then I basically messaged her. I was like, listen, that was so cool. Me and Kim went in on it. We'll do it for free. Yeah. That's how much we wanted to do it. Because again, not having a haunt, even though we were happy to have that break.
Yeah.
When you go through September and October not doing it, it kind of felt super weird. It was kind of like your muscle memory was like, hey, like we should be doing something right now and we're not doing the thing that we usually do. And so being able to go through that car wash and then just like hitting her up and saying like, can we please like, we'll do it for free.
Can we play too? Like,
yeah, can we please play too?
I want to roam free too.
Yeah. And she let us. Oh, and so for 2 days, we basically came up with costumes. I wore something that I had that Lewis made for me for Carnival like a few years ago. Kim made her costume, of course, because she's such a creative person. And we met Glow for the first time, like I was gonna say in real life, but we've seen her before. Well, we've seen her before, so
like you're the person that we're scared to talk to. Hi, like
yeah.
And she turned out to be super sweet and super amazing. And she was like, just go fuck them up, go get in there and like do the thing. And it was so much fun, honestly.
It was so. I mean, okay, haunt has rules. Let's not pretend that there is not a safe and legally way that we need to do what we're doing, right?
Right.
This car wash was a little more fun. You're knocking on people's windows and opening up their car door, and
no.
you're seeing. It was like we had so much fun. There was like blood bags.
Yeah.
She had blood bags, and we were like coughing and squirting blood all over people's cars and like slamming ourselves into them. Like, it was so stupid. We had so much fun.
Wow.
And
You
then,
could even. Oh yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I was just, like I said, the other people that are there, a couple of them were clowns that were in Carnival. I know, Lewis was there and was so funny, like scary, intimidating, but so funny. And it was like, he had like this sponge that he would like throw at the cars. Like, it was I don't know, we worked with Alex, who's worked with us in Boardwalk. I mean, he was there before we were there. He's like dad of Boardwalk,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, fun. He had a mask that he had worn in Boardwalk that was there. And again, Neil you just had a face you found, right? Like, you just got a mask. I went and I painted one real quick. I was like, this will be great. I'll just make some clown mask. And it was like, it was so fun. And then there was other people. I think there's like some people that were in Ghost Town that we hadn't worked with before, but it was fun to see them be clowns because we're dorky clowns all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool to see them play a different kind of character,
Yeah.
Oh, it was so fun. And then I liked working like the outside part, like where the cars are coming in, so you can like walk around and knock on their windows and be like creepy and stuff. Neil is like crazy. He's like, I'm going in the car wash and standing there and get drenched and like, I'm like, yeah, like,
dude.
I did that maybe one time, and I was like, you know what? Now I'm gonna just go back out here.
Sometimes the cars, just as they're about to pass under the soap, for whatever reason, they don't think to lock their doors.
No.
And so I would like open the door right as they're about to pass under.
Oh no!
And that would freak a lot of them out, and they'd be like, "Oh shit!" and they close it. Honestly, I shouldn't be proud of messing up people's cars, but that was like probably the most fun I've ever had messing with people's cars.
Because that was fun.
Well, I can honestly say this, Neil, you probably smelled great at the end of the night after having a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't know what type of soap they use, but I'm pretty sure it was a nice apple strawberry scent. And people were like, man, Neil smells nice. Where do you get that scent?
I think like you get in there and like you're wet and you're cold, but if you go to the end part where like they blow the cars off, you can stand there and like blow your hair all cool, but they would also kind of dry you off a little.
Yeah.
It was like, it's cold. Let's stand here for a minute.
I didn't realize how hard those things actually blew, because like when I went underneath there, I practically fell.
Oh shoot!
It's so hard. Like I was just like, whoa! Like this is intense.
This is windy.
Yeah.
And when we got, Glow kind of gave us kind of like the crash course, was like, okay, you kind of go over here. This is where you should go. Hey, don't get too close to like these turning things because Boots ripped his costume over here last night. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah. And then she's like, okay.
I actually got my foot ran over. Yeah.
Yeah, look at you. You're like, yeah.
But it was okay. Like it went over, and I was like, oh my god, like this is happening right now. Like I'm about to. The entire car's weight is about to go on my foot, but it passed over like nothing.
You're playing this off so well. I mean, you didn't stop to think, man, I should go to the emergency room right now.
Yeah, no. I was like, ow, ow, ow.
That's you have a metal foot then.
It probably helped that I was wearing my Doc Martens.
Okay.
Maybe that's what did it.
Yeah. We have some steel.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea to wear those if you're gonna do with cars. Or combat boots. One or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I would think, you know, combat boots would feel a little slightly uncomfortable running around a car wash.
I mean, probably.
I think I wore the Doc Martens because it had non-slip.
Yeah.
Doc Martens have non-slip, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to wear non-slips for work all the time. It's a pain. A real pain.
Yeah. But I was running up and down that car wash. I was like, you cannot keep me tethered to one spot this entire time.
You can't stop me.
Yeah, you can't stop me. Too much pensive energy.
We kind of got to just, like she said, just kind of just have fun. And we're like, okay! And then we were all over the place.
That's great, though, you know, freedom. There it is.
Yeah, it was different for sure. And she threw it all together. It was like her creative process, as far as I know. Like, she did the artwork and stuff. Like, there was a big, over the part where the car would go in, like a big clown face. And I think she did all the work for it, all the paint and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She saved Halloween for us that year.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume so, since, you know, she likes to intimidate grown men and, you know, frighten people. So, but like I said, me and her are fine. If she's in costume, you know, we're fine on different territories. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no. I was gonna say, were you lucky to like experience Glow's Bride, but also the Bride before?
That I couldn't tell you, because all I know is I went. I know it was a college freshman. Well, yeah, it was about, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I honestly couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
all I know is I saw the bride. I don't know who it was. The first time I went, and all I remember is like, I ain't fucking with the bride no more.
I'm alright.
You know, I had my experience. It was a good time, but you know, whoever that is, I'm fine staying on the other side of the park. And you know, honestly, it was great. I mean, the scare was great at first, but now I'm just completely terrified, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not messing with that no more. And if y'all know Aaron Frame, his story, oh my goodness, his story's great.
It's Spirit of the Bride too.
Yeah, but
that character brings a lot of fear out of guys.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess
commitment.
Yeah. That's a. I hear that.
A scorned woman, you know, a scorned woman will fuck anybody up.
It's great. I mean, the last podcast we had like a whole segment of, you know, him telling me, "Oh yeah, this happened and then this happened." I'm like, I mean, I'm not on the level you are, my friend, but I'm getting even more terrified with your stories, with your experience. So yeah, I'm glad that I believe I have it easy. Oh, nah, I'm gonna get cursed for that, saying that. But please.
Yeah, well now she knows.
Yeah,
so
well, hopefully, hopefully, she don't find this out. She's not listening right now and be like, "Oh, you have it easy, huh?"
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. I was just playing. You're very intimidating. You're scary, and yeah. Please don't hurt me. But before this gets even worse, let's talk about, you know, like I said, 2020 year. I mean, I know you had the car wash, but did you guys have a chance? Like, I mean, like I said, there's not a lot going on for Halloween. But did you guys get a chance to check out like any other haunts, like hay rides, or because I know hay rides and drive-throughs were very popular. They were on the rise.
We did. We got to see the haunted hayride. We went. Remember, we went to someone that Anita was in. Do you remember?
Oh, the haunted shop. It was in Chino Hills, I think.
Oh wow.
Yep, that one. And then we did Knott's had an event. It was just not Scary Farm. It was the was it like Taste of Fall or Taste of Halloween or something? And we dressed up and we went to that, and that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm still missing that cinnamon roll. They could bring it back any Halloween. I'm cool. They could just do that. That was so good.
There's a corn maze that we went through.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
So cute. There's like photo ops, and there was like a pumpkin patch too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did a couple spooky things. Neil can try, but I'm like, let's go do something fun. And really, Neil knows all the fun things to do, always. He's always on a fun adventure or going somewhere cool or doing something fun. So when it was spooky time and I was like, I'm sad, he's like, don't worry, we can do this.
How do you do it, Neil?
Huh?
How do
I do it?
Yeah, how do you find all these events with...
You know what? I feel like in my Instagram algorithms just kind of like lead me to like the right places, thankfully. That or my boyfriend Ernie will usually know the right thing to do for like, especially during the haunt season. He was like, I know you're depressed, but I found these things to do for us. That way you could still enjoy your Halloween. And bless his heart, because the Halloween 2020 would have been our first Halloween together. But I decided to work
No.
Listen. Yeah. I love Halloween so much. Or I love haunting so much. And he understands it. He gets it. He knows it's my thing. Yeah.
It's my favorite when Ernie comes to visit, when we're being spooky. On not... Well, I mean, other than that year. But then we got to do a bunch of other fun things anyway. But it's always fun when...
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't check out too many Halloween things because, like, where I live, Halloween's like it's non-existent. In 2020, they're like, yeah, we don't know what Halloween is. I'm like, oh, great. But ever since I started working at Knott's, all sorts of Halloween stuff started happening around town. I'm like, oh, now you want to exist out of nowhere. Great, that's wonderful. But I remember in 2020, you know, I'm in between haunts now. I'm like, okay, well, you know, my home haunt is, it's closed for the season because they don't know what to do. I mean, obviously we're in a building, so we can't really be inside buildings and scaring people because that's now illegal for many safety reasons. So I'm like, wow, what am I going to do? Luckily, my parents are like, hey, you know, it's our anniversary in November, and we want to know you want to go to Vegas. I'm like, you know what? Sure, why not? Why not just go to Vegas? I mean, I know, I know it says I said November, but I remember there's this Halloween event that was going on. I'm like, oh, we're okay. We're just barely gonna miss it. And then my friend, he texts me, he's like, how happy would you be if I told you that this Halloween event has an encore night? You're like, an encore night? Yeah, apparently they're so popular, they're extending it for another night. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So I bought tickets, and I went, and that was awesome. Riding on go-karts, getting scared by people, it was great.
So fun.
I was like,
wait, where was this at?
This is Las Vegas.
Oh.
Yeah. It was great. It was. I think they called it Fright Ride, but it was so fun. Like, wow. I was like, this is so cool. I mean, it was mostly outdoors. Like, it was in this big old warehouse, so you know, it wasn't really inside because there's outside parts. So you know, they bypassed the system like that. I'm like, that's cool. And you know, there's just so many themes. Like, there's like clowns or zombies. I think the theme was like a fear test. It's like, okay, we're gonna put you in these different scenarios, and we're gonna test like your level of fears in this. It was great because you got to experience so many different things all at once, and my brain was like, wait, this is happening at this time, and this is wow, and I'm like, this is great. I had fun. It was almost about an hour too. So I'm like, an hour for like $15. I'll take it. So it was great. Yeah,
That's a pretty good price.
It was. It was very affordable. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I had
Dang, $15.
$15.
I would have loved to do that.
I mean,
They actually had something similar to that in San Diego. I think it was called Scream Zone.
Ooh.
And for 2020, I don't know if they usually did it outdoors, but they did it outdoors in 2020. And I remember that being super cool. It was long, which is that's what I want. Like, I want like a long experience. I don't want to just be like in and out in 30 minutes. Like this one, I think it's like also like, probably like 45 minutes to get through because there's like a long line of cars and stuff. But it was a lot of fun. I like how people or like haunters always find a way somehow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can't let a disease stop your little shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, zombies, they don't have to worry. They're already undead, so you know, I mean, they're like, yeah, we're zombies. I mean, we're undead. What do we got to worry about? Oh, but I feel like the 2020 season was more or less creative. Like, yeah, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot on the table, but with the little that was given, there was a lot of like creativity and like there's just a lot going on. And I would have loved to see that car wash because that sounds like a great experience. I'm not gonna lie to you, that sounds fun. So, but
it really was. I think actually she did. Well, I think it actually changed hands, but it was a thing last year.
Yeah, I think it was a thing last year.
Oh, wow.
But you know how it is when you're working knots. You know, don't get to do the other things. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oop.
Am I lagging?
I wasn't sure if you're frozen or not. I think.
Oh.
Just a little bit. Or am I lagging?
Dun dun dun.
I know.
Internet, don't cut us off. We still.
Hey, is he lagging for you, Kim?
No.
Oh no, never mind.
Okay.
Okay, you're fine.
Oh. Okay, your internet's unstable. That's weird. I've never had that before in my life. Okay, I lied. It might be this new internet stuff. I don't know. I think we recently switched routers, so it's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this internet connection right now. You know how it is. You know, you got to break in a new box and stuff like that.
Yeah. As we lag. As we lag right now. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, are we lagging right now? Okay, no.
Yeah.
I think everything's fine now, actually.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, that would have sucked if you know, if it was just forever. Yeah, I would not like that. Oh, wow, this is great. Yeah, you'd love to have technical difficulties during the middle of an interview. Isn't that right?
I know.
I mean,
are we lagging for you?
No. I hope I'm not lagging for you guys.
It actually keeps bouncing back and forth between network bandwidth is low.
Yeah.
But you're actually responding correctly. So you're actually responding at the like.
I would hope so.
Okay.
Yeah. I might be a little delayed now. I don't know. I think the responses might be delayed. Just by a few seconds, though. I'm not sure.
Do you want us to restart real quick?
Yes. Let's do that.
Okay, I'll do that right now. Okay.
Let's take a little
Okay, hold
break.
on. Okay.
So-
Take a G. Restart a video call. But you know what I mean. But anyway, we're back here talking about good old times. I don't know. I feel like you said before, I could just even though there wasn't a lot out there, I feel
Yeah, I think it was great to see how everything, or how haunters in particular, were kind of put to task on how they would still continue Halloween without the traditional like haunted house setting and whatnot. And so when we got out of 2020 and into 2021 and things started opening up, I just felt like everybody was so ready to get out of the house that the foot traffic in Carnival was just crazy.
yeah. They're like
every day.
Clowns again.
Yeah.
Everyone had to be separated. Although we had to wear a stupid mask, dude. Darn it. But yeah.
I don't know. Orange County is kind of. I mean, I wasn't wearing a mask, okay? Like, I got vaccinated and all that.
I agree.
So,
I was the same way. I was like, I don't like this mask. I don't need to wear it anymore. Unless it's like required, of course. But you know, if it's not, I'm not gonna wear my stupid mask.
and then all of a sudden, the haunt plague took over, and then I was scared shitless again.
Oh,
So I was like, don't know if COVID or flu. Like, let me put on my mask again.
Yep, that's what happens. You're like, you get the haunt plague, you're like, great, this is fun. Like,
Every year.
yeah. Luckily, I got mine, and well, unfortunately, because you don't want to get it. Weird. oh, well, I got the haunt plague. Let these next few days off, please. Let my, my body heal. Luckily, I didn't have to miss a day. I mean, I took like from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's all I needed. Thursday, I was great. I'm like, alright, I'm back to normal.
I think that's like my new favorite game ever after like COVID happened, or it's still happening, I guess. I don't know if it's still happening, but after like at the end of the haunt season, like the last 2 weeks, it's just listening to those coughs all around you.
You're like, oh, all you can hear.
Is that COVID, or is that the haunt plague?
You're coughing over there, You sick or
You're good?
are you feeling alright? Are your lungs okay?
And, yeah, I like to like give myself like a false sense of security and say that everybody's coughing because of the fog that they like inhaled through all these ones. So, but the side eyes I be given.
Look at each other real quick. We're like, well, time to go back out.
Well,
I think we've been in the break room long enough.
it's time to go. But now, after the 2020 season, that was even more fun. Now most people are not wearing them out. They're like, great, we're playing this game again.
When we got back out there for the first time, so I guess 2021, I remember thinking to myself, I'm so excited to be back. Oh my god, I get to be out and do this, and yay, I've been missing this. And then thinking like, oh yeah, okay, but like personal space and whatever. And sometimes part of, I don't know if it's haunt in general, but one of the things that is uncomfortable is when you're close. You know what I mean? Or whispering to somebody, or that extra little something, and it was like, oh, we can't really do that. You know what I mean? That part, how can we change that? And then, you're like week 3 into the run, and then all of a sudden you're on a table, and you're like this close to somebody eating some food, and you don't care anymore. You know what I mean?
It's great how time can like changes things. You're like I said, you're like, yeah, I would appreciate you not talking close to my ear like that, and staying over there, and then it's like week 4 already. You're like,
we're already here. So if I die,
it's potluck time.
It's potluck time. Even though we don't have a potluck, but that's fine. Talk to my lasagna. Who cares? If I get sick, oh well. I'll be back by Thursday evening. Just get my cough drops and my NyQuil. Actually, that is an interesting question. What? Everybody loves to play this game. It's called What's in My Haunt Box, right?
Ah.
So, over the past 2 years, what are some interesting things, like leftover things from the last one you would find in your haunt box?
Oh, I think when season is starting to roll around, haunt box shopping and refreshing the haunt box is one of my favorite things to do. Now that I not only play an old person, but like I am one, I definitely have like KT tape in my box now, and I tape up my knees when I'm out there doing random stuff. I like to keep a small box that has, Band-Aids and Advil and, medicine type things in it. so nobody has to go to first aid. If somebody needs a Band-Aid, I've got one, that kind of stuff. I keep a small sewing kit in my box because you never know. Some scissors, you never know. Deodorant, stinkies.
Yeah.
Huh? How about that? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that the clowns are not right. Okay.
Yes.
So let's put that in our hot box. I like to keep that in my hot box. And then I also I organize things with like the little boxes, so that way I can know what I'm reaching for. I have one that has my small props in it, like squeakers and dumb little things. And then I have one that just says like end of night stuff that has, toothbrush and toothpaste to get like the tooth black off, and your contact solution and whatever. I don't know. I think that's all the staples. I almost always say I'm going to bring Febreze, and then I forget, and then I ask Neil, like, every night for his, because he always has it in his. And then, yeah, I don't know, like, I bring stuff that I know I don't need, but maybe somebody else might need, sometimes in there. I don't know. I think that pretty much covers the basics of Hot Box Set. But yeah, Neil always has. If I don't have it, and I'm like, hey Neil, do you have blah blah blah, and then he does.
Yeah, here you go. For me, it's always my costume stuff. So my mask, my teddy bear arms. I wear like this little head thingy where my ears are. That's in there. The things that I usually have to go shopping for are like Febreze. When I'm running out there, my sweat gets on my fur, and so I kind of smell like a wet dog.
Oh no.
So I have to use Febreze, not only at the end of the night, but on my breaks too. So you'll always see me like spraying myself down. I buy Olba's pasties. It's for like my voice. Everybody in the break room thinks it's gross, and it kinda is. But it's super mentholy and it kind of opens you up. So, what else do I breathe? Oh, sometimes me and Kim get all witchy.
Oh yeah, our favorite part of the break room.
And we bring our tarot cards.
Oh.
We pass time pulling cards for each other sometimes. That's fun.
We set up shop sometimes.
We're like, does anybody, you know what I mean? Does anybody think that they're reading a Crook 3 choice,
Yeah. But it passes time for us. And then sometimes we'll just ask questions like, what should we do to get this next year? Also, I have like a very superstitious thing where I bring like a black stone with me. I always have this stone on. Yeah, I always have this stone with me. I don't know. It just reminds me to like stay tethered, stay grounded, and not worry so much. It's a superstitious thing. It's a healing crystal, if you will.
Crystal. Okay, I mean, I won't lie with you on that one. I always wear mine. There it is on my neck. Well, you can't really see it. The light's not pretty good in this room. But,
Ooh, what kind is it?
I think I don't know what the blue one is, but I know that this orange one is Tiger's Eye.
Ooh.
I know. But the funny thing is, people are like, have you been wearing that the entire time? I'm like, you'll never get the answer out of me. You don't know me. You don't know my life.
Different ones for different times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like, and I don't know if y'all will agree with me, but when you do your like mid-year, when you start cleaning out just to start the next year, I like to find interesting things in my hot box. I'll find like trinkets and toys, and then well, for me now lately, because apparently it's a new rule now. I find earplugs. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
there it is.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys have to wear earplugs now.
I know
Mhm.
it's not fun. I feel like it slows down the process because you're like, all right, I'm going into the oh, I gotta put my earplugs in first. So I go back out. I have to take my my jacket, my costume, the top off, and I'm like, all right, I gotta take off my masks. Then I gotta put in my earplug, and I'm like, all right, cool, we're going through this process again. And then sometimes I gotta fix my bandana again. I'm like, great. And now I'm like 5 minutes late, and I'm like, this is not fun, but I'm still gonna do it.
How was that like for you guys? Can you like hear? I mean, you could hear, of course, but isn't it just like muffled?
Yeah, and it was so hard to understand each other. That's the thing. Like when I was doing the final rehearsal, I'm like, someone would say something. I'm like, yeah, you too, friend. I don't know what you said, but I agree with you 100%. I got your back. Sort of. Not sure what you said.
You and I do that, and we don't even have to wear earphones.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it. Yeah. I don't know what you said.
Okay. Like, we don't know.
I'm suffering.
Kim and I try to like communicate in subtle ways, and most of the time we can.
Pretty
Like
good at
we'll
that.
know. Yeah, we'll know. But sometimes I'll miss the cue entirely.
Oh no.
And if she sees a guest that she knows that we can get, and I'm just walking, she'll usually grab my arm and then like yank me back. Like, wait.
Hold on.
I have spun him way too many times, and then I forget sometimes that he is like not knowing that I'm about to yank him like that. So it's like, wow, he's like really like a rag doll. It's like, no, he like legit had no idea that I was. Dude.
I bet you get scared when that happens. When you don't realize it.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it calls my attention to the guest usually, and so I know we're gonna do like a thing, but sometimes I'll spin, and I think I know which guest she's referring to, but she'll actually be referring to another guest that's sitting like on the other side. So me and Kim like to do like the step. We'll take one step together, and then we'll take another step, and that usually builds tension for whoever's watching us. I realized that we were stepping to like different guests. And I was like, how are we gonna get out of like how are we gonna fix this, Kim? So I just went her direction. I was like, okay, we're gonna whoever she picked.
So we've done that, and yeah, we'll mess up, and we're like, oh, you know what I mean? Or sometimes, playing off the planters is a lot of fun because we'll be like, all right, split, and we go around and then on the other side or flank them, you know what I mean? And then we go and sandwich people, like. But yeah, that has definitely happened before. Or like we're gonna go and play to people that are on the benches, and then like we'll go to the wrong bench. I'm like, oh, I guess we're talking to that guy. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, earplugs will never work for me.
Yeah,
Like,
I wouldn't recommend it for streets. Not even one bit.
Kim's all trying to talk to me. I'm like, what? I
Be like, excuse
can't
me,
hear you.
I cannot. I got earplugs. I cannot understand. I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess half the time, I guess that would work for Granny anyway, because sometimes I will deliberately do that when a guest is trying to get your attention. But I'm old, so I'm like, what? And then they'll say it, and I'll make them say it again. What? What? And like see how long they go. I've done that when I was walking with Neil, and like from farther away, and like the person is yelling at me, and I'll be like, what? And then and like just keep it going for as long as we can until eventually I'm just like laughing because this person is either dumb or they're just playing with me still, and it that I love that.
And they'll be screaming too. Like we'll be like clear across the park, and they're still screaming "Grandma."
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
What? Like it's so stupid. It's like straight out of Invader Zim almost. Like it is very that. Like
Wow. So speaking of voices, I mean, like, how do you like to in a day? How, like, when you start, because after 3 days, you know, you're resting your voice, and you're like, oh, okay, civilian voice. So how do you like to, like, the start of the week or each night, for exactly? How do you like to warm up your voices? Like, do you and Neil just like go to the, like stay in the parking lot before your time in and just like practice and, like, talking in voices, or how do you like to go about that?
Usually, like before the season starts. Okay, let's say auditions roll around. I gotta kind of remember and be like, oh, okay, and get back into it. Can test it out a couple times. You do your kind of growly things. I hunch over and practice and put the walk and the voice together and whatever. When it's actually go time, maybe just because I've done it for a minute, I'll just do it and
Mm-hmm.
just switch it back on. Because where some people's character voices, you know, are deep and gravelly, or you're pulling something, or you're making this big creature voice, at the end of the day, we are humanoid. We're clowns for the most part, except Neil, he's a bear, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's still pretty easy to get to that kind of voice for me. I mean, I get on the way to driving to Knott's, I'll sing in my car and just regular old whatever. But then when it's time, I found when it's time to just like become that character, like you're backstage and you kind of shake off before you go out there, it always starts with I frown. I get my angry grandma face on, and then you hunch over and you just walk out, and it all goes together. I don't know. Neil, he's a bear, so I'm not sure how he comes up, but for the most part, all of his talking is, you know.
Yeah, that's I don't really have to get ready for anything. Like, okay, for the vocal aspects, like the voice aspects of my character, it's really just getting that baby talk, that baby bladder,
Yeah.
blabber, bladder, that baby blabber in check. So it's a lot of like squeezing my throat and like trying to talk like that. Probably a month before auditions, I'll start my screaming, which is
Oh.
basically like an inhale scream, or yeah, like an inhale scream. Instead of being like ah, it's more like ah. But then there's still like there's like raspiness to it. There's like that shriek to it. I start that up weeks before audition, because if I just go at it without prepping that, I go into a coughing fit.
Oh, wow.
I've actually tried I've actually tried to see like how far I can like do it, and I really do need like 2 weeks in advance before I could just do it like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like Kim said, when it's go time, it's just like that for me. We don't really have to prepare ourselves like in the parking lot. Besides, when me and Kim meet up in the parking lot, it's usually for snacks and cigarettes and like,
We're you're drinking our monsters, talk about the night before, have a little snack. We're like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean?
doing everything they tell you not to do before on shift.
There it is.
Yeah.
Whoop.
So
Oh, that's great.
I don't know why I keep saying smoking cigarettes. I quit smoking. But it's just a cool aesthetic that I guess I could go.
It's vape 30. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
you guys
vape 30. There you go. It's vape 30.
Vape 30. Okay.
have it back up around haunt time.
Yeah.
Personally, do not smoke cigarettes yet. When somebody's taking a smoke break, I'll go hang out over there.
Wow.
I'm like, don't smoke. Okay, let's go hang out there. Like,
Yeah, people really do relapse during the haunt season. I know I
so.
do. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like haunt is just a great time to release your anger out to the world.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like, definitely a way to, I would assume most people are not monsters in real life. I would certainly hope not.
Yeah.
However, there's that part that is, like, this is not politically correct. This is not something you could just say in a conversation or act in a certain way. But then you get to go to a place like that and they say, be a monster. Okay, well, what's a monster to you? You know what I mean? And then you get to let all those things out without, of course, with reason. You're not whatever, but yeah, it's kind of what it seems like. It's a like a release kind of. You get to like take the mask off. You know what I mean? You're putting on one and taking one off at the same time.
I actually make that part of like if I'm interviewing for a job, for example, I'm very lucky to be working where I am right now.
Right.
But anytime I interview for a job, I always say at the question and like when they say, "Do you have anything like do you have any questions for us?"
Right.
I'm always very much like, "Listen, this is a make or break for me. Like if I want to work, this is the make or break question. I love doing this thing in September and October. I'm not asking for any time off, but I am asking for like some schedule change. Are you guys flexible with scheduling?"
Right.
And they know right off the, and I tell them right off the bat that I work at Not Scary Farm, and I really, really love it.
Yeah.
And if these employers are trying to play their cards right and promote work-life balance, they'll usually say yes. And so you kind of like twist their arm a little bit on that regard.
Exactly.
But with that being said, like haunt is kind of like my vacation. It's really nice to be able to like have a daytime face, and then when you go to haunt, you just peel that right off and you become like a creature, just like screaming at people and yeah.
You're like, I'm not normal. I'm telling you, I'm not a normal human being.
It's a different type of customer service.
It is.
Let's put it that way. That's
the way to put it.
It's great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing better than that. All right, so here's a fun question for y'all. So, as we know, our characters are always placed in various time zones, and for you guys, it's what time zone would you say you guys are in?
The Dust Bowl, right? Isn't that where we're at?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is the Dust Bowl. I want to say Great Depression, but I don't know if that is that ish. Great Depression ish, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you had the chance, well, not the chance, but you know, if your characters were brought into this modern day, how would you feel they would react in such modern times? Or what would you like them to experience during this weird, uncertain times we live in?
So the thing about how I created my character is, I feel like I'm a childhood star. So I really feel like Shirley Temple up in here. You know what I mean? And so when I see cameras, like cell phone cameras and stuff, it's smart to not play for the camera. But if you know what you're doing and you could kind of like finesse your way out of things, that's what my character does. It's kind of like when they point a camera at me, I'll just like go like that. But then I'll walk away as fast as I can. Because, you know, like I think Teddy thinks he's a star.
Right.
So when he sees these flashing lights around him, he's very much like, "Oh, of course you want my picture." So like I'll pose and then I'll walk away. But yeah, like if we were to be brought into like a modern time, I feel like I kind of be prepared for it in the sense that all that's really being thrown at us at this current moment is cell phones, you know?
Yeah.
Like dealing with cell phones.
I think since Bubby's the world's oldest woman and cursed to eternal life, she would be rather similar the way she is in her time period and now. I think if anything, she would just be more pissed off because it's like, oh God, here's something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She likes to, I would say the only people that she's nice to out there are older people. When we have older guests, I have a great time because, I mean, I have a great time regardless, but I like to play a little extra to older men or older ladies, especially if it's a couple. Forget it. Neil will laugh and he'll go backstage because I'm going to have way too much fun. I think if she was allowed to react to like modern day kind of stuff, I really think that the TikTok thing, all that kind of stuff would just piss her off. Wow. And then she would just be more bitter about anything and everything. And be like, oh, here's something else. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? You kids. Very typical old lady kind of stuff, you know?
Right. I can see that. Definitely.
I want to see her react to a drone. I want to see Bubby, like, see a drone fly across the sky.
She'll, like, have a heart attack, but she doesn't. So she just falls down and lays there for a minute. You know?
We're about to get bombed.
Not again!
She's like, this is time I die. Oh, wait, I can't die.
I can't.
And I'm suffering. Please.
Yeah.
Drones. Yeah, I feel like since you have eternal life, yeah, you're gonna see everything depressing, everything awesome.
That's like it's kind of fun because it's sad but fun.
Yeah.
Put it to it that way, it's like, wow, yep, I've seen a lot of clowns come and go. I've seen the children all grow up and then they die. One of the things lately that I've played off of Bubby is I've made her have multiple husbands. She's a bit of a black widow. She goes through husbands pretty easily.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll like talk about Irving. That's one of the husbands that I've made up for her or whatever. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, I don't know. She's a trip.
She had this urn that she would walk around with. That was funny.
Yeah. I made out of, I had a plastic jar that had pretzels in it and I cut it and then I put like some cardboard, paper mache, and I turned it into an urn. Wow. And then just different old timey men's names on it and would go around. I decided instead of playing my usual Bubby, I was like, I want to try something different. So I'd have her walk around all sad and like holding her little urn all sad. And then because of course it's like, what is that? Or the guest will ask, who is that? Or whatever. I'm like, oh, Grandpa, you know, and I'll talk to them about it. And then I would open it up and I'd had Fun Dip in it. And so I would like eat them and walk. That was pretty fun for me.
That'd be great. That is great.
It definitely made the nights a little more fun. Because again, you know, it's cool being the same character. I have a lot of fun with her, but I also want to do new things. For a long time I used, I still do. I have a cane that as a prop. It used to have a squeaker on the bottom. And then one year I have a baby shoe. And so now it's like a cane with like a little foot on the bottom. Oh, wow. And then there's the baby. I've played with that before. And I went and got one of those like Build-A-Bear heart thingies. And it has like crying sounds. And I put it inside. I have like fingerless gloves that she wears. I put the heart in here. So I'm holding the baby. But because it's loud out there, there's like the music and stuff from Carnival. So, you know, you go up to somebody on the bench and you have the baby. But if you press the squeaker and like have it next to their ear, they could hear baby, which I don't know. Weird stuff. But yeah, last year was the urn. Yeah, a bit of a prop comic, I'd say. I like, one time I had a finger puppet for a while that was Grandpa, and like, what, again, with the grandpas, and would like have people talk to the puppet instead of me. I don't know, they're, you know, weird stuff.
The prop queen.
I guess. What am I going to bring to her this year? I don't know.
I guess we'll never know.
Who knows? If they are still into old ladies, hopefully you guys can find out for the 50th.
We talked about something yesterday, and I'm not going to release what she said, but it's smart.
I can't.
It's very smart.
Well, I mean, as much as I think you'd like to talk about it, I don't think the remaining minutes will allow us to get into detail.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, my wonderful guests have lives outside of, haunterviews. So, I'm going to release them back into the wild so they can prepare for the 50th like I am. And
Hooray.
they're awesome. They're wonderful. But before that, do you two have any advice for the fans, for your fans specifically, that are trying to get into haunt or anything?
To get into it, like you want to come and be a part of the show? Oh man. First of all, welcome. I'm so stoked you're going to join our merry band of weirdos. Please come. It is so fun. You're going to have so much fun. You are going to meet people that are going to enhance and change your life and like be forever friends. And that's so cool. Advice? Okay, I'm going to throw back to the very beginning of this when I was talking about one of the things that held me back is that I was too scared to try. Haunt is your place to do the scaring, not to be scared. So don't be scared. Have fun. You're going to look silly. Embrace that and look silly. Be weird because that's what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Do the loud screech. Get down on the floor. Do your weird bendy thing. Embrace the weird. And you're going to have a great time and you'll fit right in and you're going to do great.
Oof, that's going to be hard to top.
Whatever.
I guess I think the one advice I have is more technical actually. So a lot of people want to go into streets, and if you're coming straight out of if you've never worked a haunt and you want to go into streets, have a character in mind is something that I want to stress the importance on. You're not going to have any time to tell us what the backstory is, or the judges. You won't have any time to tell the judges what the backstory is. When you're in front of guests, you're not going to tell them your backstory. You literally have 15 seconds to get the point across. So it's not so much, it's your growl, it's the way you walk, it's the little things that you say, it's the way you stand. Those are what inform the character. So that's the advice that I have is to really have a character in mind when you come to haunt and you want to come out for streets. If you're just going to come, if you just want to work haunt period, welcome. But also again, like Kim said, you're going to look stupid and you might as well just get over it. Also, don't eat the salmon.
Yeah, we can't. Be real careful. You watch out with Cruz.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust the food in there no more. Unless it's the french fries, and I guess they're okay. But anything else, nah. Never mind.
Yeah, that was a hard lesson.
I don't think there is a better, more truer thing you could say to a new haunt person is beware of the Frito burrito.
It's going to be worse than the Montezuma's revenge. I'm telling you that.
You see, I thought people were just kidding about the Frito burrito until I saw somebody eat the Frito burrito and then they had to go home.
Yeah. Don't trust it.
I feel bad. I hope Cruz Nest doesn't hate us for this.
Super nice. We were super nice.
Now they're going to purposely do something to our food when they see us next time. They're like, oh, look at those three. They're gonna eat our food.
I'm telling you, grilled cheese. Have some grilled cheese, okay? French fries. Chicken tenders.
That's it.
There you go. Have a good run.
All right. Well, so I'm not just gonna end it here. Well, I'm not gonna end it here we're now we're gonna let the time expire and that's the end of the stream. I'm gonna let you guys go out, roam free, and enjoy the rest of your night. And I'm gonna wrap things up with my wonderful guests here so I can properly thank them. But until then, we will see you for the next episode. This was Neil and Kim, Boardwalk Streets. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Hooray!
Yay. Bye. Am I supposed to end it, you guys?